Hello and welcome to the Fundamental Excel class part 2. I am Festus Ugubayo and I'll be taking you through the second part. Also, and like we have learned in the first part, I've taken you through the introduction, the use of the quick access bar. I've taught you how to create, how to copy, how to delete, input, select, copy, paste, insert, hide rows and columns. So today we are moving on to the formatting cells part of this course, where I will be taking you through the cell size, the freeze pane, the find and replace, the flash view, the cell reference, spelling check, data separation, identifying duplicates. I will be taking you, however, the auto view and the data separation alongside with the sum function part, which is the part 3, which should drop anytime soon. So now let's get started. The first thing I would start with is cell size. By default, you should know that whenever you open your Excel worksheet and you have the Excel interface, you will notice that the rows and columns are well fixed at a certain height and width. They all have the same height and width. However, Excel allows you to modify in various ways and also do wrappings and margins. When you have a numerical data, one way to know that your cell is too narrow, your column is too narrow, that is needs to be widened, is when it has the hash. When it has the hash, this hash sign. We'll see it in the data set soon. So we're going to be doing two things. We're going to be modifying the column width manually, and we're going to be doing the auto column width adjustments. So without wasting any of our time, let us get straight into our Microsoft Excel. Okay, on our Excel sheet, we like you can see, I have two major columns here that are not well widened to contain their content. When it is numbers, you have the hash like I've said. So I want to color this so that you can know the specific rows. Exactly. So this particular row, you will see that it seems when you click on it generally or look at it, you cannot figure out exactly what is inside it. But when you click on one of the cells, you would and look at the formula bar, you will see the complete content. So what this is telling us is the cells are not well widened. So like I said, there are two ways of doing the cell widening thing. Either you do the manual way. Manual way is by you coming to this edge, the edge of your column, where you will have this arrow that you can see on your screen. That's the black rectangle with two arrows. Click down, right click down, and left click, you left click down and drag. That way you keep expanding till you can see everything in your text. So now I can see everything. The same thing goes for here. You come here, you left click, hold down your click and drag till you can see everything in the cell. So that's one way to adjust your column width. And let me tell you the second way. There's a way the computer can automatically do it for you and it's going to be more perfect. So let's do Ctrl Z. So now select the column and go to format. Select the column first. I've done that, column B. Then go to format and click auto column width, auto fit column width. It's going to fit it straight. Select these two and do auto fit column width. You can even do for the entire columns in your cell by coming to click this particular button that I said stands for select all cells. So you click on it and then come to auto fit column width. So you see it will adjust. Some of the headings here that we couldn't see well before have been adjusted, and the age column that was too wide, but even though I always prefer it to be somehow wide. So now it has sized everything. So I've taught you how to manually do it for individual columns, how to automatically do it for individual columns, and how to generally do it for all columns. Now the next thing I want to take you through is modifying the column height. In certain cases, your column height might be different, might be extremely different, where you don't get to see what is in your column. This happens in most cases where you've written a lot of text and your column height is smaller than what you've written. I think that happens when we merge cells together and some of those cells are moved together. Okay, let me just show you how to merge cells. I would not want to distort this, so let me write new things: Vestos, Excel, and class. So when it comes to merging cells, please be careful of merging cells because it could distort a lot of things that you have done. So you highlight the particular cells you want to merge together and come here, come to this alignment group. You can click on the drop down to see all the type of margins that we have. We have merge across, we have merge cells, we have merge center, merge and center. I like to use merge and center. So can you see this is the danger of merging cells. I lost some of my data, so that's why we always tell people to avoid merging cells. Okay, so let's go back. I think when we use the merge across, we should be able, but that wouldn't work because it's supposed to be a column wise. Let's use the merge cells. Can you see I still lost my file? But that's how to merge cells. That's how to merge cells. Be careful with it. You can click on the wrap text. That also can help, but not in this case. Wrap text works when let me give you an example of that. Let's say you have a lot of text like this, and then I can just click on wrap text, so it will turn it to a single column. Okay, let me do that again. Let me do that with a neat data. So let's say I have Festus Excel class for all beginners. Okay, so now I'll delete this. Now if I say you should wrap this text, I'm trying to tell you to see it as one. Now I want to do something to show you how to adjust column height. Column height. You can decide to do it by adjusting individual rows, where you come to this edge, the arrow, and drag it. Now you can see it's writing height. So can you see? So now with this, I can't see what is fully in the text. So I can choose to adjust the column height by going to the edge of the row and dragging it down to give it space. I can now see everything. I can drag the edges down to see it, and then I can drag it until I can see everything in the column. So I've done the width and height. Now I'm going to go back because I want to do it automatically. So by selecting this cell, just select this cell, go to format, click auto fit row height. You see it did that, and click auto fit column width. It would just reset everything. So this is it. So it's because it's wrapping the text, it's turning it to a column instead of being able to break it down as a row. So I've been able to take you through how to expand your column size in terms of rows and in terms of column. So I'll be moving on to the next item. Let's go back to our slide. Okay, so I've taken you to modifying row height, and now we want to go to the cell styles. This we are going to do quite a lot of things. It's also part of the formatting cell. So all cell content uses the same formatting by default, like I've said that before. So there's a way you can now start to customize your Excel worksheet. So we're going to do quite a lot of things here. We're going to do change font size, change font color, add a view, add a border. I'm going to take you to add a border, text alignments. I'll just do the general cell, and then I'm going to talk to you about cell styles, where you don't want to manually fill each of them, but there are cell styles that can just be added. If you are tired of coloring all your cells one by one, you can decide to have ways of doing it. So let's go again to our Excel worksheet. Now we're back to the Excel worksheet. Please permit me to delete this particular column of the cell because I don't think I need it. So yeah, so I'm okay with this. So I'm going to be removing the color of this. And how do you remove the color? Just click on the row, click on this drop down of the color view and no view. Same thing goes for this. So I don't want any view. Remember I taught you how to remove decimal points, so we can assign. Sorry, that error is occurring because I chose a text file along with it. I'm just supposed to select so that's fine. So now I said I was going to take you through how to change fonts. So let's say this particular row we want it to appear in another font. If it's everything, you can just highlight this for everything, but I want you to learn different things, so we'll do it individually. Let's say we want our email to be of the font of, let's say, Time New Roman. So you just the usual Microsoft way, highlight the column, click on the drop down of the text and select the text you want. So I am looking for Time New Roman. Okay, I think I just saw it. You can actually search for it too, and then I can change the font size to 12. Okay, so that's it. Now let's say I intend to want my particular gender. This is supposed to be gender or genre, and I want the text to be red, or let's say I want the text to be orange, green. Okay, so green. So I just come here and click green. I hope you saw the way I did it. I selected the column, I went to the drop down beside, and I chose color green. So I think that way we've changed fonts, we've changed font color. So another thing we would like to do is change the alignment. So I think I've taught you this in part 1, but we can still do it again. Just highlight the row and change the alignment here under the alignment tab. Select every alignment. So I'm leaving it on the center. So that's that. Now I can decide to bolden my headers. You can select the entire row, that any row that comes to this header will be bolden. So just click the bolden and to keep it all bolden. So that's majorly how to do it, how to do all those things. Now there's another way. Like I said, the cell style is a way of doing it automatically. So come to the style group under the home tab, come to the styles group and click on cell style. So with this now, just let's highlight this particular column. Let's say I want it to be red. Come to cell style and click red. Any color, you can just select whatever you want. There's different ways. You can personally look into it and do a lot of things with it. So click this. Now let's say this is in currency, amount income. So I want it to appear in dollar. So I'll just come to my cell style and pick currency. So it's going to adjust. Did you notice it put the dollar sign? Exactly. So it will just immediately adjust it and put it there. If I want this spending score to be in percentage, just highlight the row, the column, sorry, and then come to cell style, put percentage. So it doesn't even stress you. It doesn't even stress you to just put it by itself. So that's basically that on cell styles. You can play around with it. You definitely get an assignment. We tell you to do some of these things, and I'll be expecting your response or with the solution to the assignment. I know I didn't do a lot of things here, but majorly, yeah, that's it. Now I want to try and take you through how to create a border. Now if you see on Excel, because Excel is a spreadsheet document, you have all these boxes. It makes it seem as if they are borders, but you don't have borders there. If you want to add a border to your Excel, you have to intentionally do it on your own. So I'm going to teach you how to do it now, and then you would also practice it. You also practice it in Excel. So firstly, let us try and select active columns. That's Control A. I clicked Control A because I want. So click on Control A. I want so it's selecting all my active cells where I have information. So now I I want to create a border around all of them. So one good way to do that is, after selecting everything, you can just right click. In short, I think that's what I should teach you. Right click and go to format cells. And then when you get to format cells, come to border, and then it puts the outline. This is the outer border. This is where you are normally, none. So now firstly, before you click the outline and the inside, let's click the type of weight we want. We want this particular weight. Then we put it, click the outline. You see, to add the edge, the entire edge. Now click the inside, it will put the inside, and then let us click OK. We can set our color here before we click OK. So we can set our color here, and with these paints you can remove. Okay, let me just show you an example. If I remove the top, you will notice that it's removed the top here. If I remove the base, it will remove the base here. That's exactly how your cells will appear. So make sure you put it automatically. It will put it anyway, except in cases where you want to remove them. So now let's change the color, this area. So click on the color. Let's say I want it to be red, just to show you I did something. Normally it's supposed to be black, but then so if you click the color, if you change the color first, if you change anything on this angle, you need to come back here and reselect this outline and inside. You see that if you notice that when I didn't select them, they were just black, even though I've changed the color to red, because this side, this line and color must first be changed before you come and do the preset. So let's click on OK, and you will find out that I now have a border. So let me just click out to show you. So this is now telling me that I have a border. Now you can Control A again. You can actually do some automatic bordering and all those things by going to format as a table. So this will do it automatically. So just click any of this type. Let me click this, and then you will notice. Sorry, I made a mistake. Let me try again. Control A. No, I mean active cell. Control A. Please, for you to select your active cell, make sure you are clicked on one of your cells, one of your active cells, then click Control A. So then go to format as table. I select, and it's asking me where is my data. So you should use what I've selected. So can you see? It didn't change the border because I added it manually, but it's added this filter color where you can now adjust your variables on your own. So it's seeing it as a table now. So I think that should be that on that page. So let's go back to okay, so I've taken you to boards and I've shown you the exact way. When you have the board, you can also do the italic and everything. I've done the views and borders and cell size. So let's move on. So now I want to teach you how to freeze rows and column. Whenever you're working with a lot of data, it could be difficult to compare information on your worksheet. Fortunately, Excel has several tools that can make your view better. By freezing rows and column, you will be able to scroll and not lose view of your content. Okay, I've had times where I was working on my Excel worksheet, and because I have a large data set, while I am scrolling down and the rows look similar, the information looks similar, so it gets to a level where I'm not sure where I should type an information. So a good way to undo those type of cases is by using the freeze rows and freeze column. So let's go to our Excel worksheet, and then we'll do. Personally, I'm not sure if I like how our worksheet looks like, but because we're trying to do it in a way that it is obvious that we made certain corrections, so that's why it's like this. I know you also might not like the color and everything. So I don't know, let's just leave it like that. It doesn't stop what we're doing, but just know that it is like that because we want it to be so obvious that we made changes. So like I said, I'm doing freezing rows and columns now. So now let's say as I'm scrolling down, this is your header, and if you notice, let me just make this header feel like yellow. That was bad. Okay, I think that looks right. Okay, let's say this is your header. So it means as you're scrolling down, your intention is you wish to be seeing your header. So you so much wish to be seeing your header. Now as you're scrolling down, because I've done format as table, you will notice that the header is here. So I'm going to remove the format as table, because if you don't format as table, this header will not appear at this top right. Let me just remove the format as table. So okay, let me use Ctrl Z so as not to waste our time. So now back like this. Can you see that as I'm scrolling down, I'm just seeing the column names, and I can't even see the particular first column where I'm typing this information anymore. So one good way to do that is freeze this first column. Freeze it. There are several ways of freezing column. According to the slide we have, I said that we are going to be freezing column 1 and 2. Okay, let me first show you how to freeze. Yeah, let's just do column 1 and 2. Highlight column 3, row 3, sorry. We want to freeze row, I'm so sorry. We want to freeze row 1 and 2. So let's select row 3 and then go. Please follow me. Follow me. You're going to go to view, the view tab, and then you come to freeze pane. Now if you click on freeze top row, it's only going to freeze the very first row. It's automatic, just click it to freeze it. But in this case, I want it to freeze my selected row, so I'll click on freeze pane. So it's going to freeze row 1 and 2. It's going to freeze any row before my selection. I think we've explained this in the first class, how your selection would choose the first the selection before. So now as I'm scrolling down, can you watch that any number I am, as I'm increasing in numbers here, I can still see row 1 and 2. So that's the essence of freezing my row. Now at the same time, you can do for column. Let's say you have a large data set. I've had times when my data set is so long I have to scroll like this, but I don't want to lose track of number. So you know the very first column here has serial number, and I don't want to lose track of this serial number. So what you can just do is highlight column A and come to freeze pane. Just click on freeze first column. That's automatic, it will freeze it. Can you see? So as you scroll, your first column will remain standing. Now if you want to freeze other columns that are not column 1, okay, let's freeze column A and B. So click on column C, then come to freeze pane and click okay, let's first remove this. Because it cannot do more than 1 in terms of each. So select column C and then click freeze pane. You will notice that it will freeze. Because I don't have a lot of data. Okay, let me just keep scrolling. Can you see it as frozen column A and B? So that's how to freeze column. It can really help you when you're working with big data. Let's see, there's a tendency that when I'm going to give you this assignment, only that I don't want to stress, but I would love to have sent you a very big data that would be extremely difficult, and you will need to do some of these things, because you want to be sure that as you're inputting the information, you're inputting it at the right column and at the right row. So now the next thing we want to talk about now is the find and replace. Like we know, if you are used to Microsoft Excel packages, you would know that find and replace is a common tool in them. Now you can remove the freezes, so let's remove it. Click on that same column you highlighted before on freeze, go to the row, click on row 3, then do okay. I think that's removed it itself. Okay, so when I removed it the other time, so that's it. So now we want to talk about the find and replace. So let's say that you have a large data and there's a particular thing you want to find and at the same time replace. Let's say this confessional email is wrong. Let me just copy it because I don't want to type it. Let me just copy it. So there are several ways of doing it. Go to your file. Your home tab. Go to your home tab. And then here you will see the find and select. So click the drop down. You will see the replace. So if you are just willing to find, just find. Click find. And then let me just put it there. And then it would find next. It will tell me where it is. Yes. Can you notice this cursor? Just put your eyes here. You will notice this thing is moving. Can you see it's moving? So it's finding the next for me. So let's say you want to replace. You click on this is find. Click on replace. So it will look like find what, the particular thing you want to replace. You input it here. And what do you want it to save it as? Let's save it as Excel class open space. You still want to keep it as email. Class 001 at gmail.com. So once you click replace, you can decide to replace just one. So to replace one of it, did you notice it replace only this? But you can replace everything, and it's going to replace we are done. We made 24 replacements, so it has replaced all with that. So that's how to use the find and replace button, and it works very well. Now there is a particular tool I want to teach you, and this tool is marvelous, and it's called the Flash View. Now, where do you use Flash View? Okay. There is something I can do to make this Flash View look more sensible to us. So let me use the Flash the find and replace thing. I want to replace this Excel 001 with should I say, let's say I have people's natural email. I don't want to use this email, the people's natural email for this. I have a lot of email list, but I do not want to use it. So let's say Festus Ogunbayo yahoo.com. This is actually a valid email. I'm doing it because it's me. I don't want to put other people's email out there. So let's just say replace all. So now it has replaced it. Wait, there's something I want to do. So let me copy this too. I want to replace it. I want it to be a formal email. So paste. Now let me say I just hope this is not a formal name. Adeshewa Ileola. Okay, replace all. So replacement. So I want to copy this again. I want to there's just stay with me. I would explain why I'm doing that. So let's say I'm having Ayeni Isaac. Okay, replace. Now since we're done, now let's say out of your email, as you have your email like this, you're interested in bringing out the names of people at this email. There is a particular tool you can use to bring it out in that case. But before I go to that one, I'm still coming back to that because that can be a bit complex. Let's first do the simple one before we come back and do this, because it would expect you to do some expertise. So let's start from the simple. Let's say we want to bring out the first two letters here. Ma. For female, we want to bring FE. Let's create a new column. Select column D and click insert. So now here, listen here, just click on, I want to bring out the first two letters, that's MA. So write that MA here, MA. Now after writing the MA, click on the next cell to it and click on Ctrl E. You notice it's replaced everything with the first two letters. Exactly, it replaced everything with the first two letters. That is called the Flash View. The Flash View. I told you the what's it called? The shortcut. If you want to actually go through the normal route, you can go through Home tab, go to the editing group, and come to the view, and then you look for Flash View. So you click on this and click Flash View. So that's the same way to do it. So now I was talking about the email. The email is going to be a big deal because you do not have equal length. So in cases where you don't have equal length, that's scenarios where this can be really difficult to use. So I wanted to do INE, and then if I just click Ctrl E, you will notice it's taking first two and all that. So let me just try and see if I can help it to understand. So and then we Ctrl E. Sorry, I'm not. Can you see? It's not seeing a pattern. So these are the issues. That's what I remembered when I was doing it. But that's a good way to use it. I hope you understand it. So if they are able to follow patterns, then you might be able to do it. And in cases where there are ways around it. If they do not follow pattern, there are ways around it, but it will be stressful. and that's why I said if they don't work together, you have to go to the flat fill options. So that's what I remembered, but I hope you get how to use it. So now next to this, I'm going to take you through the cell referencing, and this is a bit somehow because you really need it. Now when you talk about cell referencing, you're going to need it for the cell function. That's the part 3. What we mean by cell referencing is the ability to refer to a cell. That's just it. And we have 2 types of cell referencing. We have the relative and the absolute. Now when you talk about the relative, let me first explain what the relative is. The relative is that I want to remove the columns I did. Yeah. Okay, let's say I'm interested in adding this figures together, the spending score and the age. So now if I want to add them, let me say age plus score. If I want to add them, I have to find a way of selecting both of them. So usually when you want to do anything that has to do with formula in Excel, you use equal to. The equal to is reference. It means you want to reference a particular cell. So because you are going to be adding 2 cells, you have to reference them. So equal to, I select the first cell, you see, to write the name of the cell, D2, plus this D2 plus DF, enter, it will add it together. Now cell relative referencing is when you need each of these column to add their own, in this case going to be D3 and F3, next one D4 and F4. So you just drag it down. That way if you click on any of them, just look at the formula bar, you see it's using their own particular cell. So that's it. That's how to do that. That's what we call relative. It's using that row's information. Now let's now say okay, I'm so sorry about that. You also have to be careful with the way Microsoft works with that thing. Okay, so let me click out. Now let's say I actually want to add every age to the column score of column 2 alone, just column 2 alone. That's where you need to start using what is called absolute referencing. That is where you add the $sign, and we can do that by pressing the function F4 key. So you can first click on your Fn key and click on F4. You notice it has added $sign. So now what it's going to do is it's not going to change this F2. Even no matter how I copy it to anywhere, it's not going to change the F2, but it's going to keep changing the D2 because D2 is a relative reference. So as it moves from row to row, it's going to change that. But because I've turned this to an absolute reference, as it moves from row to row, column to column, it's going to remain constant. Let me click enter. Now let me just drag down to show you. Now if you click on any of them, you will notice that it is adding D10 to F2, it is adding D8 to F2, it is adding D6 to F2. That is absolute reference. So this happens in cases where probably you want to divide a particular. Okay, let me do a practical example of cases where you might need it. So you can need it in a case like, let me copy this to you, just use as a data. So I'm going to paste this as text, as just numbers, so that it doesn't have the formula inside it. So let's say I have my sum of this. Now let me do the auto sum. So this is the auto sum. Let's now say I want to find the percentage of each of these using the auto sum. It means I have to divide each of these numbers by the total. Like I have to divide the total by each of these. So it means I'm going to have to do equal to this divided by this, and I want to keep this constant. So you have to just say press down your Fn and F4, and that's it. So I can just drag down. So it's going to divide the entire things by this. So I'm trying to find how many of these 58 can I find here. So that's what I literally did. If I want to find the percentage, I'll just check, okay, how many of this can I get in this and all that. So that's how to use. I'm just trying to give you a practical example of the absolute reference and the relative reference. So now another thing I want to move on to quickly is the spell check. I want to move on quickly to the spell check. Spell check. I guess that's a very important part of this should I say course, because you need to learn the spell check. So now, how do you do the spell check? You want the Excel to check spellings of things you've typed into your worksheet and check if they are dictionary correct. So I would have loved to do it per column, but so as not to waste your time, let's just do select all, or let me just do select active cell if that's it. Okay, so yeah, that's Control A. And then what you need to do is you need to now check the spelling. How do you check spelling? You need to know the fact that all these tabs that we've discussed before have their functions. So you go to the review tab, and then under the review tab you come and click on the spelling under the proofreading group. You click on spelling. So when you click on spelling, it's going to ask you about suggestions of it's going to check automatically, sorry, and then you notice that customer ID is not dictionarily correct. So you can choose what happens. Do you want to ignore it? Do you want to ignore all the time? Do you want to change? Do you want to autocorrect? It's going to autocorrect it to customer, or you tell it to change it to customary. So that's how to choose it. That's that. So it will check everything and say this is it. So if I click on ignore ones to see the response, spell check complaints, and you're good to go. So that's how spell check works. It's going to look at it and then verify. That's in cases where you have large data set and you think you might have pressed, instead of consider, you pressed consider and all those things. So it's going to check it for you. But I also need you to know that spell check is not always correct. It can sometimes mark words as incorrect if they are spelled correctly. So you just need to look at it and tell the function you should do. So lastly, for this section, I'm going to be taking you through the identifying duplicates. Okay, to aid this identification of duplicates, we're going to first discuss, let's go to the home tab. We're going to first discuss conditional formatting. So under this conditional formatting, I'm clicking on the conditional formatting already. So it's under this style group. So here you can actually use this to recognize duplicates. So when you come here, come to highlight cell rules and come to duplicate values. So Excel is going to say, what do you want it to do? Fill duplicates as red. So I said fill duplicate as red. Okay, and then you see it has filled up every number it fills are duplicates. Every column it fills, every row it fills are duplicates, and that's because everything here is a duplicate, and everything here is a duplicate. So it's literally seeing them as duplicates. So that's how to identify duplicates. That's a beautiful thing. I believe you must have enjoyed the class session. So please try to get back to me in the comment section if there is anything. Going back to my slide, I want to be sure I have covered everything. So like I said, we're going to be doing the data separation and the autofill in the next session. So until we get to the next session, I'll see you then.